Hello and welcome to the Blood Red morning stream. Today we're going to talk a little bit about transfers and looking ahead to the Real Madrid game midweek as well next week. But first of all, we got a new writer at Liverpool.com to introduce. Welcome to the team, Tom Beattie. This is your first time doing the morning stream with us.
Yeah.
I believe you're going to be doing a few more in the future for sure. Nice to have you here, and welcome to the team. And then to discuss, to begin, we're going to talk a little bit about Karim Benzema. It seems like he picked up a slight niggle, which makes him a doubt for the Liverpool game in the Champions League. How much of a boost would that be for Liverpool? What do you think, Tom?
I think massive. I think that, every game he seems to play against Liverpool, he seems to make a massive impact, doesn't he? And obviously he's a world-class player as well. He seems to be a bit of an inspirational leader as well for Real Madrid. So I'd have him down as one of the most important players, really. So yeah, it's a bit of a relief that he's obviously nursing a bit of a knock at the moment. But I think we've seen it in recent times, haven't we? Clubs on the continent like PSG, for example, they seem to rest a lot of players before the Champions League games in order to keep them fit and ready for the bigger games in the Champions League like this one. So I'm not really that surprised that something like this has come up. And I do, to be honest, I do expect them to play.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you. But Real Madrid, in all fairness, did play a lot of games prior in the lead up to this. They were, of course, at the Club World Cup, and I think they had one more game in the league in the last sort of few weeks than Liverpool. So I suppose when it comes to in terms of fitness, at least Liverpool might have an edge on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Obviously, we knew last season or the year before when we obviously went and won the Club World Cup. It does it does have an impact on your season. Luckily, we came through, and I think the best teams always do. So I do think they'll be at the best, I think, for the first leg. But you're just hoping, really, as a Liverpool fan, that it does kind of knock them a little bit, and obviously picking up a couple of injuries along the way, like Benzema seems to have there. It fills you with a little bit of hope because obviously we've been not in great form. They haven't been in great form as well in La Liga, but obviously they're still, I think, in second place in La Liga. So it kind of shows our drop off really, compared to obviously when we played them back in June. But I think we do owe them one. So I think the players will still be up for it, and they'll be trying to grasp hold of any kind of advantage they can.
Well, yeah, I suppose the contrast between the two sides at the moment is at Liverpool you have potentially Virgil van Dijk being fit for this fixture. He's been training. He was on the bench against Everton. Obviously, Diego Jota came back, Roberto Firmino as well. So, yes, I suppose you'd want Ibrahima Konate and Thiago Alcantara fit as well. But on the whole, it is a lot more positive and it's looking a lot more optimistic about this game than perhaps maybe a couple of weeks ago when it seemed like Van Dijk was a doubt, Jota and Firmino weren't necessarily even going to feature, but now they're in contention, and I think, who knows? I agree. I think there is a chance that Liverpool could cause an upset here.
Yeah, I mean, them players that you mentioned, obviously they're pivotal for Liverpool, and I think particularly Van Dijk and having Jota back as well. They're kind of mainstays in our team really, and I think they're going to make a massive impact when they're back in the team and fit and firing. So I think a lot of them have probably targeted this game for the comeback, and thankfully we've got them back. But yeah, I mean, even Bobby, to be fair, I think we all know what he brings to the team. I doubt he'd start the game, obviously, given that he's just coming back to fitness, but it's another option at the end of the day, and he's proven off the bench before that he can make a big impact. I remember a couple of seasons back, the PSG game where he came off the bench and he changed the game really. So I think Jurgen Klopp will hopefully be planning a few things and he might be the first sub really that he's got in mind for the game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Lipok Jameer left a comment that I like. Second most successful clubs of England and Spain have opened last night. Time for the biggest clubs for the main event. I think I have to agree with you that Lipok. And as always, do make sure to leave a comment if you want to get involved in the conversation. Now, moving on though, everyone's probably tuned in for the headline. There's been reports that Neymar has been offered to a host of Premier League clubs, including Liverpool. I think the clubs also include Manchester City, Manchester United, and Newcastle as well. Tom, what do you make of those rumours? I mean, they seem very far-fetched, don't they?
Yeah, it seems very far-fetched to me as well. I think it's the kind of rumour that we kind of see when the transfer window's only just shut again. Yeah, I'm not surprised in a way that we're seeing rumours like this, but obviously I don't really envisage Neymar being in a Liverpool shirt anytime soon. I don't think he really fits the profile of the type of player that FSG look for. I think he's just about entering his 30s now, or at least coming up to it. So yeah, I just think he's probably had his best days behind him. Probably. I know the players, go into the 30s now. Benzema, who we spoke about before, and I wouldn't put it past him because obviously he's a quality player, like he showed at the World Cup. But yeah, I just don't think he's a player that Liverpool will be looking at, given the signings that we've made under Jurgen Klopp. To be honest with you.
Just on a financial aspect as well, if Liverpool are looking at Jude Bellingham in the summer, they're not going to sign Neymar as well. I mean, under this ownership, that's impossible, surely.
Yeah, I mean, I think even Newcastle and City, who you mentioned there, I think they, to be fair to them, they do make clever signings as well, and I think they're obviously going up against Liverpool in the market in terms of the same kind of players, I'd imagine. So yeah, I think with that in mind, I'd be very surprised if he ended up at one of those clubs as well. But yeah, stranger things have happened, so I wouldn't completely rule it out. But I'd say about 90% certain that I don't think he'd end up at Liverpool.
Yeah, I think we'll move on from that conversation. I think we've established that we think there's a very small chance of Neymar coming to Anfield in the near future, at least anyway. But another rumour that we can't seem to get away from, and that seems a little bit more likely, is the Mason Mount one. He's someone who was obviously stalling on contract negotiations with Chelsea and kind of thinking about his future. I think for me, I think he would be a really good fit for Liverpool. He's a midfielder who puts in his defensive duties, but he's also creative, can get involved with goals and assists. I mean, his form has dropped off a little bit this season, but I think overall he would be a good addition.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think particularly in the campaign where Chelsea went on and won the Champions League, I think he really showed what he was made of. And of course, there have been isolated examples after that as well. His form has dropped off a little bit, but you can definitely see the quality. And he's one of them players when you watch him where you certainly sit there and think that, he could make an impact in a club side. And I think that, yeah, again, he does actually fit the profile of the kind of player we're looking for. I think the more sort of maybe boring detail that I can think of is in the summer we're basically facing the prospect that, as it stands, that James Milner and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain are probably going to leave the club because they're out of contract. So, we probably do need a homegrown player to fit with that quota as well. So that's the kind of thing I think, behind the scenes, Liverpool will definitely be looking to do as well. But yeah, whenever I've seen this rumour, I do think there's probably something in it. And the fact that, he's stalling on his contract and he's entering into his last year come next season, I think Chelsea may want to cash in on him, given the amount of money they've spent in January and under the new ownership as well.
I mean, I think that's probably going to be the stumbling block for Liverpool, the transfer fee. I mean, at the end of the day, this is still a Champions League winning player who is still 23, 24, and he's on, I think, he's still got 2 years left on his contract or there or about. So Chelsea will want to make a profit, and that's going to be the big challenge for Liverpool to sort of convince them to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is a real asset, I think, for Chelsea. And to be honest with you, I'm a bit surprised that it's ended up in the situation it has. Given he's a homegrown player, and I think probably deep down he'd probably rather stay at Chelsea, I'd imagine. Given his background and his roots at the club. So yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that it's ended up the way it has. But who knows? He might fancy a new challenge, and I think, given the options that are out there, I think that many Liverpool fans would welcome Mason Mount at Liverpool.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. I would like to see him at Liverpool for sure. I think that about wraps it up for today, though. That's definitely a transfer to keep an eye on. Maybe not the Neymar one, but thanks so much for joining us, and thanks everyone for tuning in as well. As always, do check out the rest of the Blood Red content going out today, and all the written content on Liverpool.com as well.